Welcome you all. So just I'm continuing the session which I held in the last time, that is model number 17. So we are discussing here on problems of on design of shaft. So it is a part 2. So in the last session we have discussed it, an overhang pulley which is having the horizontal as well as vertical loads. So now today we are going to uh, we will go for the some problems in the design of shaft as well as some procedural steps which are involved for the one or two pulleys supported in between the bearings. Okay, so now let us we will go for the presentation. So the learning outcomes and the identification of the problem. So writing the given data, so I have to write it properly, the data, and in this case some data if they are missing, so that also you have to consider. Okay, and then the analysis of the given data, that means uh, whether we have to solve it by taking the ASCB code equation or whether the allowable stress is given. So what are the things are given and how to tackle it. So that thing probably we are studying in this analysis of given data, and then assumptions of the data if necessary is there. So then we have to assume the relevant data, and then identifying what is asked, and based upon that only the designing process will start. So adopting the right procedure to get a right solution. So these are the general flow process. Once again, just we will go through it. So these are already known to you. So even though, so just I am taking it oftenly because so these things are very important to remember it. Okay, after writing the given data and analysis, so the two things are there. One is the strength and factor of safety, and data related to the strength and factor of this is related to the strength and factor of safety. It is other than that, that power, RPM, so pulley diameter, the dimensions, whatever the things are there, it comes on the left side. The right side you will get the strength of the material, how to find out. This is the uh, first step, and that's the initial step in any design. Okay, so adopting the right procedure and then assuming the relevant data if it is not if some data are missing, so in that case we can consider those things and you can solve that problem, you can get the right solution by adopting the right procedure, right? So this design procedure, so the procedure it is given here to find the allowable stress is the, as I said it, allowable stress is in the case of shaft you will find what is that allowable shear stress and allowable tensile stress. Okay, so to find the torque, this is very important. So these are the 5 factors or 4 factors, from that we can get the torque, because the design of shaft is based on the one is the torque and the second one is the bending moment. So torque can be calculated by using this equation. Okay, mt is equal to power into 60 upon 2 pi n, and if T1 and T2 are the tensions in the belt, you can get the difference T1 minus T2 into the radius of the pulley. And if I know the belt tension ratio, then I can find what is T1 and T2. By knowing T1 and T2, I can get to the torque. Okay, so sometimes if the belt speed is given, in that case power also, from that also I can calculate. Okay, and if a gear is given, so that he will give the tangential load acting on the gear, and taking the tangential load into the radius, I can get it. So the other thing is that sometimes, so they will give the diameter as well as the allowable shear stress. So if they given the diameter and allowable shear stress, I can find out the torque by using pi by 60 into tau s into dq. So these are the ways of to finding the torque. And after this, we are going for to get a what is the moment diagram. Because so for moment diagram, I should know what is the vertical moment and vertical loads and horizontal loads. And if I draw the vertical load, vertical moment diagram, I can draw it, right? So if I know the horizontal loads on the pulleys, so you can get the horizontal moment diagrams. So by drawing horizontal load and the vertical moment diagram, we can find out the resultant moment diagram by taking that MR is equal to under root MV square plus MS square. This already I explained in the last session. So just it is a revision on this. So taking that one, taking the maximum bending moment in the resultant moment diagram, so that we can adopt it here, MB and MT values. So apart from this, sometimes we are using KB and KT factors, that is shock and fatigue factors for the bending and the torque. So if it is given, so then in those things you can use it here to find out based on a level shear stress or a level tensile stress. So now let us, we will go for the other problem that is related. The two pulleys are there here. So given data is power is in watts. It's usually they will give it kilowatt or megawatt. We have to convert it in watts. Okay. And then yield strength, the factor of safety, RPM, weight of the pulley, direction of the belt drive, radius of the pulley, RP, ratio of the belt tensions. So these are the things they will give it. Step 1 is to find the allowable tensile shear stress. So they will give the problem, and they will also, sometimes the illustration is given, or else they will give the figure. If the figure is given, in that case, it is very easy. You can get everything on from this, right? If the figures are not there, in that case, illustration is there. In that, we have to draw the figure. After drawing the figure, you just compare it once or twice, so that you confirm it whether you have drawn, whether whatever the figure you have drawn, have taken the as per the illustration of or not. Okay, the step 1, it is to find, as I said, it is to find the allowable tensile or shear stress. So we can take allowable tensile stress for the ductile. So generally shaft is a ductile material, so no question of brittle material here. Allowable shear stress is 0.5 of SYT upon factor of safety, and this is for maximum shear stress theory, and this is for the distortion theory, that is 0.577 SYT upon factor of safety. Step 2, it is to find the bending torque, that is the moment due to torque, MT. So it is P into 60 upon 2 pi n. You will get in Newton meter, and multiplied by 10 raised to 3, you will can convert it in Newton mm. So this is step 2. And step 3, we have to find, see here, that horizontal, there are two pulleys. One is at pulley D, is at the center. It is not at the center, it is L1 from the left side bearing and L2 from the right side. And C is an overhand pulley. It is at a distance of L3 from the right side to the right of a right bearing. To the right of a right bearing. So the belt tensions are there, P1 and P2 on the bigger pulley is there, and T1, T2, it is a horizontal drive, and here is a vertical drive. So again he has given the weight of the pulley of at D, weight of the pulley D and weight of the pulley at C, and the distances also he has given. And again he might have given this also. He should give this radius of the pulleys. Once you know the radius of the pulleys, then only I can find T1 and T2. Okay, so this the first step is to find the vertical loads. Step 3, it is just to find the tensions in the belt, whether it is a horizontal or vertical. So now we will go for the pulley C. It has got a tension in a horizontal way, right? So let us say T1 and T2, that is the tensions. So in that case, T1 minus T2 into Rp. So Rc value, if we take it, and T1 upon T2 is equal to e raised to mu into theta. So where theta is the wrap angle, it is 180 degree pi, and mu is the coefficient of friction. Either they will give T1 upon T2 or they will give mu coefficient of friction. With this I can get T1 upon T2, and by solving 1 and 2 I can get T1 and T2, so which is equal to TH, that is equal to T1 plus T2. So this is the horizontal load. Okay, so try to do it separately. That is we have to find out what is the vertical, to find the maximum bending moment. That is the fourth step, is to find the maximum bending moment. So now here one more thing is there, that is P1 and P2, it is acting at the pulley at D, it is a vertical. So hence I can get what is P1 that is the torque MT is equal to P1 minus P2 into RD, that is the radius of this pulley, if you do it. And then again, if you know what is P1 upon P2, then again I can calculate what is P1 and P2. And once you calculate P1 and P2, so PV, vertical load, is nothing but T1, that is this P1 plus P2, like this. So that is a vertical load, PV, I can calculate. Okay, so here in this problem, there is a shaft is there, it is connected, it is supported in between the two bearings. Okay, so this is a smaller pulley, and the larger pulley is over here, and the diameter of the larger pulley is this, smaller pulley is this one. So the shaft as shown here, and the torque is acting in this anti-clockwise, so the tensions will be, it is T1 and T2, it is given. Similarly, that is TH is equal to T1 plus T2. So P1 and P2, I can get it with the knowing P1, P2, T1, T2, and again the weight of the pulleys, as I said, it is given. So this is the way we have to draw it. First you have to draw this diagram, and then you draw the 4 lines passing through this. This is a very important step. You have to draw this thing in a correct way. So there should not be any mistake while drawing this, because ultimately the reactions, movement, whatever it is based on the distance, right? If this is right, so then you will get you will not get any problem in this. Okay, so try to understand this one, that is you have to name the points. So these are the distances, L1, this is L2, this is L3 is the distance. So this is already, it is given in the problem. So based on that, just you are drawing those things on the left side of your page, and right side you can use it for the calculation. Okay, so first you consider vertical load diagram, and then vertical movement diagram. After that, go for the horizontal load, horizontal movement diagram, and then we have to draw the resultant movement diagram. Okay. So we have to name the points on the bearings A and B, and the pulley D is a bigger pulley, is at a distance of L1 from the left side of the bearing, L1, L2, and L3. So these are the distances it is given. So now we will go for the vertical load diagram. You have to vertical load. If you see the right side of this figure, so the pulley C has got a horizontal load, whereas the pulley D has got a vertical load, and that is a belt tension that is acting in the downward. And again, the weight of the pulleys of C and D, they are acting again in the downward direction. So in the when you are drawing the vertical diagram, you have to consider the weight of the pulleys also, if it is given. Okay. So accordingly, I can get, so this is the total weight which is acting at the point D is the sum of P1 plus P2, P1 plus P2, and here this is the weight of the pulley. C is there, it is acting in the downward direction, and here the vertical load at point D, vertical load WVD is equal to P1 plus P2 plus WPD is the weight of the pulley. So this is at the point D. So let WVD is the vertical load at point D and WVC is the vertical load at point C. So now this is supported by the two bearings A and B. So that means the reactions you are going to get at A and B. So this is the initial stage. So we have to find out the reaction with the given, right? So now you consider RA and RB are the reactions, vertical load diagram, that reactions. We can, if you want to get RA, you take the moment about B. If you want to get RA, you should take the moment about B. And if you want to get the reaction RB, you should get RA. Now you should take the moment about A. Okay, this is one thing. And the second thing is that the direction, whatever you have taken, so this I have taken in the upward direction. So if you get RA in this negative, so that means it is assumed this is we are taking this as a thing like this, and if you got RA is negative, in that case I have to make it in the downward direction. That's all. The magnitude, it will not change. The magnitude will remain same. Only it represents a minus means, positive means in the upward direction, negative means it is in the downward direction. Okay, so this is we have to find RA and RB. So now let us, you will take the moment about that is moment about B, moment about A if you take it. So what are the forces which are acting if I take the moment about A point? This point if I take it, right? This point A. So the forces are WVD, which is acting in the downward, WVC is acting in the downward, whereas RB is acting in the upward. So from this point, if I consider these two loads, they are clockwise. You will get a clockwise movement, and this RB you will get an anti-clockwise movement. So the clockwise movement must be equal to the anti-clockwise. The moment about RA, if it is in equilibrium, so that we have to equate the clockwise movement is equal to anti-clockwise. So what is clockwise movement? WVD into the distance, it is L1, plus WVC into the distance L1 plus L2 plus L3, which is equal to, this is clockwise, and anti-clockwise is RB into L1 plus L2. So this is the way we have to find out RB. Is it clear? So in the same way, I can take, if you want to get RB, taking if I want to get what is the RA value, So in that case, we have to take the moment about B. So when I take the moment about B, that means RB becomes 0, right? Because the distance, there is no distance of this. So if I consider B point, now you consider what are the left side and right side. So the forces, this RA is acting in the upward direction, whereas this will provide what is the moment you are going to get clockwise, right? And again WBC, if we take it on right side, again this is a clockwise. So I had to add a clockwise moment that must be equal to the anti-clockwise. Which is the anti-clockwise? So you can take WBD. So if I take this as a point, right? If this is a point, in that case, WBD into L2, it is an anti-clockwise. So WBD into L2, anti-clockwise moment, is equal to the sum of clockwise moment, which is RA into L1 plus L2, RA into L1 plus L2, plus WBC into L3. This is just an illustration I am giving. So depending upon the load conditions, we can calculate like this. These are the reactions. Or else the summation of forces you will get it. RA plus RB is equal to this plus this. That is the summation of the forces equal to 0. If you do it, you can get even RA from this. Okay, that is the most easiest way of doing the, once you get the moment, taking the moment, if I got RB, I can get RA, but just taking RA plus RB is equal to WBD plus WBC. From this I can get RA. And suppose when you calculate RA, if you are getting this is a negative, in that case this direction should be in the upward direction, upside downward position. Okay. So this is a vertical load diagram you have completed. So once after completion of this, now we have to go for the vertical movement diagram. Vertical load diagram is over, vertical movement diagram. So you can draw a vertical movement diagram. So just a line from here, and again A, B, this is C, and this point is D. So now you have to, the movement at this point, the end points, always at the free end, the movement will be 0, right? And now the reaction will be there, right? Once you take the reaction, the moment about D, if I want to get what is the moment about D, either I can take RA into L1, or else I can take WBC into L2 plus L3 minus RB into L2. So both one and same. Are you getting it? So just you take the moment RA into L1, and here on the right side, if you want to take, you will have the two forces. Okay, so one is, this is acting in the downward at point C, and RB is acting in the upward point. So that's why, yeah, it is better to go for the loads which are having less load, so that you can save, we can save our time. So RA into L1, I will take left side RA into L1. So when I draw the movement diagram, see one thing that you may ask this question, sir, whether we have to draw it in the upward or downward. See, it does not matter for this vertical, this one for the shaft design. It does not matter, because we are taking the resultant movement is the sum of the squares of this, whether it is a positive or negative. So negative square, it will become positive, and positive square will become again positive. So whenever you draw the resultant movement diagram, it is the sum of the vertical movement square plus the horizontal movement square. That is under root of that one. That will give the point MR at D. MR at D is nothing but MV D square plus MH D square, where V for the vertical and H for the horizontal. So this is just thing that do not get confusion over here. You just take RA into L1 and get a point, right? And now with this, after this, I will go directly to this one. So what is the moment at B point? Now similarly, the moment about B point is nothing but WVC into this L3. So like this, I can get the WVC into L3. So taking that value, this is the point if I got it. Okay, so just as an example. Okay, so after this you can join from here to here, and then this figure you can get it. So this is the vertical movement diagram. So MVA is 0, MVD is some value, MVB is again some value, MVC is 0. Now after this we have to go for the horizontal load diagram. Horizontal load. So horizontal load, again you just see here. So T1, T2, where it is there, it is acting at C point. So that is, we should not take it. Oh, yes. Yes, P1 and P2, it is a vertical movement. So this, it is there that I have to vertical load. It is only we have to take it for vertical. Now T1, T2, it is horizontal. It is load acting at point on C. So only one load, horizontal load, acts at point C. There is no other horizontal loads. Whether if you consider pulley D, so here both are load is also acting downward, and the tensions are also acting in the downward. So that's why the load which is equal to TH is equal to T1 plus T2, it is at point C. And now which are the reactions here? A and B. So these are the points. I have to find out what is the reaction. So now initially, as you know this, to balance this you must have this. If I take this one in the upward direction both, one thing you will get in the negative. Any one reaction you will get in the negative. So negative means it does not matter here. So that also you do it. So definitely if it is if force is acting like this, so one reaction will be there in this direction, the other direction is taken like this. This is my assumption. Okay, so based on assumption, this is RA and this is RB, right? So now taking the moment about A, taking the moment about B, I can get RA value. So now taking moment about B means RB, this moment about B is 0. So what is the this thing? So you will get, this is anti-clockwise and this is clockwise. That is TH, it is a clockwise, whereas RA, it is anti-clockwise. So that TH into L3 is equal to RA into L1 plus L2. So taking this, I can get what is RA, and similarly RA plus TH is equal to RB. From that also I can get what is RB, or else you take the moment about A. So taking moment about A, if I take the moment about A point, so what you will get, RB into this distance, right? This is anti-clockwise RB into L1 plus L2 is equal to, that is TH into L1 plus L2 plus L3. So taking that value, I can get what is the RB value. Once you, after getting RA and RB, you can just go for the horizontal movement diagram. So horizontal movement diagram, so MHA will be 0 as I said at this point, because the distance will be 0. So as this distance increases from here, so you will get a movement. So again, movement at point D, it will be RA into this distance L1, right? So similarly, so movement about B point is nothing but T1 plus T2 into this distance. Okay, so taking that, I can get this is a MHD, and then this is MHB, and again here it is MV MH at C point. So these things will be 0. and the resultant moment diagram just. So in the illustration problem, just I have given the method. So in that the load diagram, yeah, you have known that is how to find out the reactions of vertical load diagram, and then vertical movement diagram had drawn. And similarly, the horizontal load diagram, it is acting at the pulley at C only. So taking that one, and you can find the reactions RA and RB. You can get what is the movement diagram for the horizontal movement diagram. So you can find that the moment at B at A point, moment at B point, and moment at C and D point. So this is a vertical and this is horizontal. So that's why, since moment is a vector quantity, so hence the sum of this will be the under root of sum of the squares, because this is one is a vertical in direction, the other one is the horizontal. So in that case you have to use the Pythagoras theorem. So you can get the triangle law. We can take it, this is a horizontal and this is a vertical load. So the resultant will be the sum of these squares, that is opposite square plus base square. So by doing that, I can get what is the resultant moment at A will be 0, since it is 0 here. MRA and MVA is 0, so that's why this will be 0. MR at D is this value, MH at D square plus MVD square. MRB taken this value, that is MHB square plus MVB square, and MBC square is equal to MBC is equal to 0. So in this diagram, so the more you will have the maximum bending moment. This is the resultant moment diagram. Here we have to go for the maximum bending moment. So take the maximum bending moment. So that is nothing but MB. MB is equal to MB maximum, which is equal to MR maximum from the moment, resultant moment diagram. And taking that MB value and putting that empty value, you are already knowing that how we can find the empty value. P into 60 upon 2 pi n, and taking that value, and then you can find out the diameter based on tensile, and this equation it is based on shear. So this is we can get the overall diameter, that is the maximum diameter we can find out. So whenever the problem they asked in the examination, you can go like this. But when you want to design it actually, so that designing you will have a stepped shaft, you are going to get it. Okay. So in the examination and all, you just take the maximum bending moment, okay, and do it. And if they ask you to design the stepped shaft, so then the problem will, you have to find out the moment at A, and that is the diameter at A point, diameter at D, diameter at B, diameter at C. So now for example, diameter at A. So at diameter at A, if we see here, so MT will be there in both the equation, right? Whereas MB, so MR at A is 0, that means moment is 0, bending moment is 0 at A and C. So that means it is based on pure torque. At point A and C, it is based on pure torque. So hence the diameter, you just put the value of torque 16 MT upon pi d cube and find the diameter based on that. So that is the diameter at C and A, right? And now if I want to get what is the diameter at D, so diameter at D will be the maximum. You can take the whatever the moment you are going to get in the RMD diagram, resultant moment diagram, that same thing I have to take it. So this value as an MB you can take it, and then the MT value you are already knowing. From using that one, you can use tensile or shear, based on that whichever is the diameter is more, so that diameter we have designed. Okay, so like this D, if you are getting D here, you can have this step shaft here, this diameter you can take up to this uniform throat. So this is having the maximum bending moment, so hence the diameter will be more for this. right? Whatever the diameter, you will get like that. And then at point B, that is again for this diameter, I had to take the bearing of that one, or else this end. See, from here to here, this is the maximum bending moment is MRB. So taking MRB at this point and find out the diameter on that. So diameter at A, diameter at D, diameter at B, diameter at C, you can find out, and accordingly you can draw the stepped shaft. Okay, this is how we can draw the stepped shaft in the in the design of shaft. So now let us we will go for a problem, actual problem. You just I will read the problem here. A transmission shaft supporting two pulleys D and B, okay, and mounted between the two bearings A and C as shown, right? Power is transmitted from A to B. Power is transmitted from A to B. The shaft is made up of plain carbon steel 45C8 and ultimate strength is 600, yield strength is 380 Newton per mm square. The pulleys are keyed to the shaft. Determine the shaft diameter using ASME code if KB is equal to 1.5 and KT is equal to 1. So this is the diameter. It is based on the ASME equation, right? Okay, the figure he has given, and the second bit he has given, that determine the shaft diameter on the basis of torsional rigidity if the permissible angle of twist between the two pulleys is 0.5 degree and modulus of rigidity is 79,300 Newton per mm square. So this second part, it is based on modulus of rigidity. So that means you are knowing this equation mt upon j, that is mt is the torque, moment due to the torque divided by polar momentum of inertia pi d raised to 4 upon 632 is equal to you can have this g into theta upon L, where theta is the degree of twist and L is the length. Okay, so that thing is the second part, it is based on the rigidity. So now we will go for the problem, how we can solve it. You just draw that problem. What is given is this A, B, and this is C is there, right? So in the same problem, it is here A and C, and these are the two bearings, and this is a pulley. D is smaller, B is bigger. So the load tension, it is given at an angle 30 degrees. So that is the difference. So that means the tension is there, that this belt tension T1 plus T2 both are given 1500 and 500. That means total load, it is acting at the center, right? It is in this direction and it is an angle 30 degree to the vertical. Okay, so this is at the bigger, at the point B, and at the point a smaller pulley D, you will have a vertical load, that is 500 plus 2000, that is P1 plus P2. He has not given weight of the pulley. Okay, if it is not given, so then you neglect it. If it is given, we should take that one. Okay, so now I will draw as it is, I will draw the lines from this. Okay, and now we will go for, this is a tension T1 plus T2 is equal to that is 1500. This is the resultant text over here, that is 2000 newtons at point B, right? So that will have the two component here, just I will show it. It will have the two component, one is vertical and the other one is horizontal. Are you getting it? So vertical, this is 30 degrees, so this is 2000. You can have TVB, that is a vertical component. TVB is equal to 2000 into cos 30, it is 1732, and the horizontal component THB, it is nothing but 2000 into sine 30, so that is 1000 newtons. Sine 30 is half, so that's you will get 1000 newtons. So this is the horizontal component and vertical component. This is the way we have to do it. That's okay. At point B, you will have the two forces. One is vertical, is equal to 1732, and the other one is the horizontal, which is equal to 1000. And now this angle is 30 degree. So now we will go for the vertical load diagram. Vertical load. What are the vertical loads? See here, P1 plus P2, where it is acting, it is at point D, and at point C, at point B, the force TVB is acting, right? So the two forces are acting here. See, one force is TVD. I will take its. So whether we should take upward, downward, it's not. If the weight is given, then we can take it's equal to minus. Here weight is not given, so hence you can take it in any direction, no problem. So TVD is 2500 newtons. Okay, so 2500 newtons. TVD at point horizontal. Yes, this is 2000 plus 500, that is 2500 TVD vertical load. It is acting at point D, right? Belt drive is vertically downward. And now at point B, what happens here? So this will be, this is acting in the upward direction, this is acting in the downward, right? So this is acting in the upward direction because here it is given, because this is belt tension, it is in this direction, so it is a vertically upward direction. So this is TVB is 1732, right? So this is it. So make this one clear, as it is a reaction. I resolve these two components. So TVB is vertically upward, whereas at point D, this is vertically downward. So that's why this is in the downward direction, this is in the upward direction. So now you assume that RA and RC both are acting in the upward direction. These are the reactions at this bearing. Okay. So we can find out the reactions by taking this, taking the moment about C, taking the moment about C is equal to RA into this distance. RA is acting clockwise, right? So RA into 100 plus 200 plus 150 plus, right? This is acting in the clockwise direction, that is 1732 into 150, which is equal to, this is anti-clockwise, so that is 2500 into 350. If you equate it, you can get RA is equal to 1367, right? So similarly, I can get the RA value and RC value. Just you can take the summation of the forces, RC plus RA plus 1732. RC plus RA, it is acting 1 plus 1732 is equal to 2500, and in that case RC is equal to minus 599. Here what I got is minus 599. So that indicates that, so this is a negative. Okay, RC is, that means it is not acting in the upward, it is acting in the downward. That's all. The resultant, the magnitude will remain same. So nothing, movement in the movement diagram, we will not find much more change in that. So now we will go for the vertical movement diagram. Okay, so we can draw the vertical movement diagram. So at point D, if I take at point D, so RA into D, RA into D. So these two forces are there, so hence we should not go for this one, it will take longer time. So it is better you can take RA into 100. So taking that value, I can get what is the vertical movement at point D. Similarly, vertical point at B, it is better to calculate RC into this distance. So RC into 150. So taking that value, I can get those things. So like this we can complete the vertical movement diagram, right? So we can draw the vertical load diagram, movement diagram. So MVA at 0 here, and MV at D is nothing but you can take left side, this is only one reaction, right side you will have two forces. So it is better to consider only this RA into this. And similarly at point B, instead of going for the left side, you can take the right side, RC into 150. So doing that, I can get what is the vertical movement at A, D, B, and C. Okay. So after this, we will go for the horizontal load diagram. So the horizontal load, which is there, it is here. So don't get confused that this is also acting in the upward. It is not like that. This is a horizontal load diagram. This is a different from vertical load. Vertical and horizontal. This is a horizontal is acting in this direction, whereas vertical is acting in this direction. So that is nothing but this one. And when you look that one from the top view, okay, when you look from the top view, it looks like this. So that is we have to take this distance result. So that is what is the result at this point. Horizontal movement at point B, at point B is nothing but it is 2000 into 30 sine 30, so that is 1000. So this is 1000. So is there any other horizontal movement? I think there are no other horizontal belt drive there. So inclined belt drive, it has got two components. One is vertical and the other one is horizontal. So this is only the one point. Okay. So now you can have this one, that is THB is equal to 1000, right? So now you can have the reactions when it is acting in the upward. I will take both the reactions acting in the downward direction. So this is what I have assumed, RA and RB. So now it is similarly RA and RC you can find out. So taking the moment about this one, you can have this RC is equal to what is that moment about A, RC into this distance, RC into RC is equal to RC is equal to, so you can find out that is 100,000 minus 333.33 you are going to get. You will get a moment about this one. So here RA into, so taking the moment about C, taking the moment about C, RA into this distance. RA, this distance is 100 plus 200 plus 150. RA, this is force acting in the downward direction. So that is a, it creates what? Anti-clockwise, right? It's an anti-clockwise. So is equal to this 1000, it is in clockwise, 1000 into this distance, so that is 150. So taking that RA value, you are going to get 333.33. So similar, this is acting in the downward direction, this is acting in the upward. So 1000 minus this, if you do it, you can get what is the RC value, right? Or else you take the moment about A, you can get the same. Okay, so this is once after getting this one, you can have the horizontal moment diagram. See, one thing, that horizontal moment diagram, you can draw it in the upward direction or in the downward direction, no problem. Suppose some this one here, and this is at this point, no problem, whatever may be. But that squares, you are, when you are taking this here, when I draw the moment at point B, if I want to get the moment about point B, it is either of RA into this distance, RA into the distance 100 plus 200, that is 300, RA into 300, or I can take this into this. So I have just for calculation purpose, I have made it, this is actually in one line only you will get it. Okay, so this thing, because this thing it is needed to add the squares. So that's why at point D, that is MH at D is equal to RA into this distance, RA into 100. Okay, so that is RA is this value into 100. So that is this magnitude you will get it. MH at B is RC into 150, RC into 150. So MH at B you can calculate. And this is the point, this point you will get. So, and MSC is 0, MH is. So what is the resultant? You can draw the same thing, resultant moment. Actually this no, I am not having any space here, that's why I have taken on the right side. So the same space I have taken MR at A 0, MR at D, MR at B. Okay, so MR at B point is MHB square plus MVB square. So that's why if it is a negative square, it will be always positive. Okay, so once you get the moment here 140705, here 134,436 Newton mm. These are all in Newton millimeter. Don't take it in Newton meter because this is in millimeter, right? So definitely you will get in Newton millimeter. Okay, once you after this you can find what is our MB point. MB is equal to this 140, maximum is this one, right? So now as per the ASME code equation, as per this is the first step actually. As per the ASME code equation, tau s is equal to 30% of yield strength or 18% of ultimate strength. So whichever is value you are going to get it, that should be multiplied by, you have to reduce by 25% since keyway is there, right? So here 30% of 380 SYT is 114 and 18% of 600 is 108. Whichever having less value, whichever is less means 108 is the less. It should be multiplied by 0.75. That means you are reducing the stress value by 25% for the shaft having keyway. So that is 0.75 into 108 is equal to 81 MPa is the allowable shear stress. Kb is equal to 1.5, Kt is equal to 1, and MB is equal to this. MT is 1,50,000 Newton millimeter. Okay, so by taking that one, I can calculate what is tau maximum D. I can find out, right? So tau maximum is equal to 16 by pi d cube into kb mb square plus kt mt square. So since he has not given sigma t, because usually the shafts are subjected to the shear, so hence it is better to go for the shear stress. So if it is there, it is tensile stress if he has given. So in that case, you can check that also. So from this, I can get D is equal to 25.35. So you can make it round it. 25.35, you can take it equal to 26, or you just see the table and accordingly you can put that, take that value. Okay, so anything you should be greater than 26, that will be always better. Okay, so now design of shaft based on rigidity. So based on rigidity, he has given G is equal to 79,300 MPa and theta is equal to 0.5 degree and L in between the two shafts. So the distance is 200. So that distance is the twisting length. You have to take it. And theta is equal to 0.5 into pi divided by 180. That means you are converting 0.5 degrees in radians. Okay, this is the radians, you have got it. Okay, and here mt upon j is equal to z into theta upon L. Okay, and theta it is in radians, and L is in millimeter. Okay, L is equal to what? 200. L is 200. So, and again J is equal to pi d4 by 32. So taking that one, I can get what is D. So putting that value here, I can get what is the D is 25.78. So that means based on rigidity it is more, right? Say like that, you have to take that one, and then finally this is the answer for the design of shaft for this particular problem. Okay, so any problem which was given in the further things, so you just draw it differently. Vertical loads, you have to make it separate. Horizontal loads at particular points, and then you must know how to find out the reaction. And once you get the reaction, you can get the movement. Always movement at the last point, at the end point, it will be zero, right? Except cantilever. Cantilever, one free end will be zero, the other one you will get the maximum. Where the fixed point is there, so there you are going to get the maximum moment. Okay. So in conclusion, I can say keeping in view to enhance the life of the machine components, discussions are made on the design procedure of shaft for finding the moment due to the torque and moment in bending. Moment due to the torque, we have calculated how we can calculate moment due to the torque and moment due to the bending. And again, by drawing the vertical load, horizontal load diagram, and the resultant moment diagram, we are getting what is maximum bending moment. By taking these MB values and MT values, assuming KB and KT, we can design the diameter of the shaft. Thank you.